and welcome to my little world. This week I've been working on more of the outdoors part around my buildings. So I'll show you what's new with those things. And I want to say hello to my Japanese grandchildren. I love you, Yumika and Tora-chan. And welcome to everybody else who's here. And let's get started. Here's an outhouse which is sitting in the sun this morning. And I got this at Hobby Lobby. I put those leaves on the top of it. And inside, I added some things. Let's see if we can see them here. So I put some wood paper in the bottom and made a little seat or a little hole. It has a catalog to use for paper, and then I put some pretty wallpaper in the back of it. And this is a little chicken coop that I have. Not sure where I got this. Looks like it's kind of a decorative thing. I got the little rooster statue separately. And then I have some stickers inside of some chickens. So these are going in my new outdoor park setup. Here is the new park underneath the dress boutique, which has replaced the train station and the toy shop and the bakery. So I'll show you more about it. So back here on the wall, I have put this poster, and this has a white picket fence and some grass and some moss for plants, and then it's a little pathway back to the outhouse back there. So from the front here, it looks like there's also a house back there with a table and chair and a bunch of plants sitting in front of it. So I put down these pieces of green grass, which I had. These are more fake looking and bright green. And then back here, I had a piece that's more realistic looking, and I had added to it. I used to use these in some outdoor scenes, but I had them put away for a while. So I put all this fencing together, and again, I had this, but it was kind of not being used. So I glued it together. I glued more pieces of it together and set it up around the park. And then I have these little geese statues that are fun, and this topiary on top of a little decorative stand, whatever statue. I have these two yellow chairs, and I got some hanging vines and just stuck them in the table. And the brown base of the glass table, which is what the dress boutique sits on, kind of looks like a giant tree trunk or something, so it kind of gives a good effect. And I may get more of the hanging vines for it. I have some more trees coming and things, so I'll be adding to the foliage, but this is what I have so far. So then I have this darling little fairy sitting on a swing. So I hung her from the top of the table. And I have a little picnic basket and more fencing. I have a tree over here that I have set up on the side. That's new. And this railroad crossing sign, which has been around for, as long as I've had the train station, which was my very first building that I made. Another topiary tree in the back. This wrought iron chair painted in blue that I got at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. And more hanging plants that I got recently. This little tree, which I think I got at Hobby Lobby during Christmas. It's a cute little tree. I also have this fun little ceramic watering can with a goose on top of it. Another little goose statue. And then more of the rougher grass and moss. And then I put the chicken coop back there against the wall. Isn't she sweet? Here I'm cutting a section off these plastic yard edging pieces that I have that look like wrought iron, and I'm going to use these pieces for the sides of the stairs that will go from the floor where the tea garden is up to the raised area where the bakery and the toy shop are. So I think that will look very pretty. And now this is the tea garden that I put back together. And this is where a drawer was. I took the drawer out, and then I have this display case, and I have these pieces that I made for it. And I needed to put a book behind that upper piece to kind of support it. And then I have the lower piece, which is on top of the middle of the drawer that kind of sticks up. So it's balanced there a little bit. But I found something later to put under it to keep it a little bit straighter. But here I'm putting the cakes and bread back, and you can see those there. Then I'm putting some pieces of acetate that I have as a window to cover it. So I put the tea garden back together, and I also added this cute little magnet to the table. I got a whole set of Victorian magnets, and I've used them in various places around the doll village. 3 more of them are in the doll boutique. Here's some shoes, a fan, and a little handbag. This is double time, and I'm measuring 9 inches for the length of the steps, and this top part I'm making 2 folded pieces of cardboard and putting them together so that the step is a little sturdier, and then the 2 parts that are sticking out will be behind the side pieces, the wrought iron pieces. So I went to get my glue and my clips, and I'm gluing these 2 pieces together. So I just used several pieces of cardboard that I had. They're not all the same, but they're all similar as far as like the thickness of them. So I thought they would all work together, and So I'm clipping these two together, and I need 5 steps altogether. They're 2 inches wide and about 2 inches high. So these are 2 other pieces that I'm gluing together and measuring. So this piece will make 3 steps. Then I have the one I already made, and then there's one more piece that will make the 5th step. I try to cut very carefully on the lines and match things up as closely as I can. I'm not using my finger to spread this glue out because I feel like with the cardboard, the thickness of the glue doesn't matter as much. It will get smashed down. It's not as important as it is with paper, like I was doing the brick paper the other day. So now I've gone to get a book to cover this one. Once the cardboard steps were dry, I started putting them together. But before that, I also added some tongue depressors to the backs of the steps to make them a little sturdier, because even with 2 layers of the cardboard, it was kind of bending and it wasn't sturdy enough. So I added the tongue depressors. I like to do that on cardboard to help give it some strength. And then you can see here, I put them on the wrong side of this piece, but I'm just going to add another straight piece on top of it to cover that up. So the reason there was a right side and wrong side is that this was those 2 pieces that I put together, and one side was a little bit longer than the other side, so that I could fit these pieces of the wrought iron into it. So I have done that, and what I've done is I just took a hole punch and punched some holes into the cardboard to fit the plastic wrought iron into it. And it's in there pretty snug, so it seems like it's going to be pretty sturdy. And then, like with this step, I did the same thing. I just used a hole punch to make some holes and hook the parts of the wrought iron, the plastic wrought iron, into the holes on both sides. And I had to cut this piece because it was round. So I cut a piece out of it, and then this other side was just a hook already. So the other thing I did is that I used a straight pen, a hat pen, to poke some holes into the cardboard, and then I took the paper off of some twist ties, and I just used the wire to attach it to the wrought iron. I did that. On that step, I was able to find places on the wrought iron where the steps would fit, that was about the right size and depth for the steps. So I did the same thing here, poked a hole in the cardboard and then wrapped it around part of the wrought iron. So my steps are coming together, and I have more pieces of wrought iron that are real that are going to be at the bottom, so I will show you that as well. So here are the steps in situ as they stand so far, and I found these other little wrought iron pieces that are not plastic. They're quite heavy, and I decided to put them at the base of the stairs. And then I need to still attach the steps to them. I'm still figuring out how to get the right height because they need to be up a little higher. So I think maybe I'm going to just put something underneath the bases to raise them up a little bit. So I will attach the steps to those, and then you can see the whole thing put together. And here it is at the base of the bakery. So here's the staircase painted black and put together, and it's just on the edge of the raised part that goes up to the bakery across from the tea garden. I attached wires in the same way to this bottom part as I did with the upper part, where I just have the wire through the step wrapped around the wrought iron and here as well. I need to touch up the black paint and raise up the bottom part a little bit, but I have to buy another mayonnaise jar to get a second lid to go under those bottoms, but it looks pretty good for the steps all done. I got my mayonnaise lids and put them under the front part of the wrought iron. And then we have 5 steps up to the top. I'm very pleased with them. Have no fear about my mayonnaise jars. The jars that I took the lids off of have some rubber lids on them that will keep them just fine. Thank you for coming to visit this week, and next week I will have a lot of fun footage of making the street lamps for my streets. See you then.